Hello, I am Jen from Jen's Makeup Adventures, and today we're going to be getting ready because that's what we do here. And once again, I left my hair tie away. All right, so to get started, I'm going to be doing the Clinique Acne Solutions makeup. This is actually a really nice foundation, even if you don't have issues with acne, because it's kind of like a demi-matte, has a really nice finish. I really enjoy it. I don't feel like it lasts for like 12 hours, but at the same time, most people don't need their makeup to last for 12 hours, so, you know. All right, so I'm just going to start by putting on my base. So I'm just going to put it on the back of my hand like so. And I'm going to be using a brush today to buff this out. I like showing different techniques for applying makeup. This particular one is a pretty close shade match for me. It's never perfect, but it's not bad. Like in person, it really does blend in very well. But it definitely helps to cover. It's probably not the most full coverage foundation, but I also don't expect all my foundations to be completely full coverage. I've used this one for quite a while, so it's not like this is a new foundation to me. I actually recommend it to a lot of people who like matte foundations, but don't necessarily want the full coverage of like the Beyond Perfecting. Granted, Beyond Perfecting is not matte by any means. It is extremely dewy. But this is actually a nice foundation, and it does kind of help with things like acne and controlling clogged pores and whatnot, which is for the most part my issue. I have more issues with clogged pores than anything. They drive me bonkers because I can see them, even if nobody else really can, unless you get right up to my face. But I don't like having clogged pores. It drives me nuts because a lot of times those clogged pores are what start things like acne happening. And that's just not fun. Yeah. So it's either clogged pores, random breakouts, or the full-on like cystic acne. So I'm just putting on a little bit more where I need the coverage. So you can see that this does actually layer nicely if I blend it. A big problem spot for me is right between the eyebrows because that's where it likes to go cakey. I've got some nice creases there. I've got nice pores there. Just everything you don't want showing right there in the center of my forehead. And even if I put concealer there, it instantly goes cakey. So a lot of people like to highlight their whole forehead, down the nose, everything with concealer. But I do find that the more layers you put on of different products like concealer and powder, etc., the more problems you start having with stuff looking cakey. And that is honestly my biggest pet peeve when it comes to my makeup, because even though from far away, you can't tell, when I get up close in the mirror, I can tell, I can see it. And I don't like my makeup to look cakey in the least. I like it to look natural. On a day-to-day, if I'm not working or doing anything else, I don't wear makeup. I really don't. And for years, I really only wore eye makeup. That's why I get so frustrated with these girls that have beautiful skin. It's clear, it's just gorgeous, and they essentially want to cover it up with full coverage foundation, and I don't understand that because I'm like, your face is beautiful. Do the rest, If you feel the need to put on a full base, put on something that's light, let your natural skin shine through. My usual talk of please stop covering your beauty with makeup. But Aside from that, it's one of those things. Like if you're young and you really don't need foundation, but you know your bronzer and blush and whatnot that you want to wear, you find wears off very quickly, you can always wear a primer and just apply the makeup over the primer or wear a light powder foundation. That's what I did for years. Whenever I wanted to just be a little bit more done up, a powder foundation worked beautifully. And we're not talking the full coverage powder foundations here. We're just talking, you know, a light coverage powder foundation. These days, girls, everyone needs to be an Instagram model. Everybody needs to be, looking perfect. But the truth about it is, those Instagram models, they use a lot of Photoshop. The majority of them. Not all of them, but the majority of them. Even those ones that are just like a close-up of eye makeup, if you notice, there isn't a wrinkle, there isn't a pore, there isn't nothing. Everything is absolutely perfectly blended. I will tell you this. That ain't real life. That's Photoshop. Now, well-blended eyeshadow can look Photoshopped, but the face has contours and wrinkles. It is not that smooth. So I'm just setting the concealer that I use with the Maybelline Fit Me powder. This one's not bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. I like it. I think it's nice. It gives a nice appearance to the under eyes. For concealer, since I decided not to say anything, I just use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser in the shade Light. This one is a little bit yellower than I'd like it, but the next shade down is more pink and too light. So this is my problem. It's either just too yellow or too light. And so I'm just going to stick with the old trusty slightly yellow one. What? Oh, God. And as per usual for all my videos, we have fur stuck to my nose. Oh my God. Welcome to Jen's Makeup Adventures, where we don't know if today's makeup is going to get messed up by fur or not. All right, so I'm going to complete the rest of my base, then we're going to do a quick eyeshadow look, and we're going to get out of here. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy watching me ramble on and talk about makeup. So today I'm going to be using the old favorite, but tried and true Physicians Formula Bronze Booster. This is honestly a great bronzer. It is, pigmented, so you don't need a lot. And I'm just going to wiggle this right here underneath my cheekbone. And see, we got the pigment kind of placed there. And then very, very gently, like you should barely be touching your face so that you don't sit there and remove the foundation you just put down. So I'm just going to very lightly tap into this. I'm not like beating the hell out of this pan. I'm just lightly tapping and building up the product so that I get a nice, kind of bronzy contour. There's no reason to like dig in and then go crazy and then have to like try to blend it out later. It works so much better if you just gently apply a little bit at a time and then very gently blend it out. And we get this really nice soft contour where we're not chiseling out our cheekbones all crazy. We're just contouring the face in a very natural manner, making the face not look so flat, because that's usually the issue when you put on foundation is you're removing all the color from your skin, all the different tones of color from your skin. So you want to put that color back in so you don't look like a flat sheet of paper. If you notice when you put on foundation and nothing else, it kind of does look flat. It looks kind of strange. I'm also running this just very lightly down the sides of my nose. I'm not really contouring my nose so much as adding the shape back in. I'm not going to do the crazy highlight down the nose or anything like that. We're just keeping this simple. But yes, when I use bronzer, it's really just to put that definition back in my face. Now, I also like to put it just under my bottom lip in this crevice right here. And that makes your bottom lip look just a little bit bigger. And so long as you don't go crazy with it, you won't end up with like a weird line under your lip. All right, next up, I did not grab a brush for this. All right, next up, I'm going to be using this Milani Baked Blush in Bella Bellini. This is definitely a very like pinky, goldy type color. I really like it. But once again, tap, tap, just a little bit at a time. And then I'm just going to tap that on to the cheekbone. So we're starting about 2 fingers away from the nose and just placing that on there. And as you can see, I'm very, very lightly building this up. I don't want, this is a very pigmented color, so I don't want to have like clown cheeks. So I'm just going to run this up in kind of a diagonal up the side of my cheek, right on top of where I put the bronzer. Think kind of Neapolitan ice cream, you know, you got your brown, then your pink, and then you have your highlight. So doing the same thing on the other side. By pulling it up this way, you are bringing the face up. So when you ladies, you know, when you're older, you realize you need to like lift everything. And then once I've pretty much got that on there, I'm going to take the brush and just kind of buff it out so we don't have any harsh lines or just any harsh coloring whatsoever. I want a little bit more blush. But as you can see, I'm just very lightly building this up. And I will show you, this is a very, very pigmented blush. Like, you can see just how like bright and like pinky it is. And obviously I don't want this kind of sheen going on my cheeks. I just want a little bit of color, and I like the kind of like sheen of it. It makes you look a bit more healthy. So great blush overall. I love the Milani Cosmetics baked blushes. They're wonderful. I mean, this one and Luminoso are probably my favorites, but the majority of them I really like. So next up we have highlight. I'm going to use the Sylph X palette with Makeup Revolution. Very affordable brand, has a lot of really awesome products, but this particular one I really love because you get all these different highlights. And honestly, they do fit a fairly good range of skin tones, from very fair to probably about a medium. I wouldn't say this would work on dark skin tones, but it'll work on a lot. So I'm going to go in here with, I think, I'm going to go in with this lightest one. Just kind of rub my brush in there and apply this, to the tops of my cheekbones. And what you want to do is just kind of blend this out. So buff out that color so you don't end up with just like a stripe. As you can see in the light, it just kind of like fades into everything else. That's what you really want. If you have oilier skin like mine, you want to avoid this region right here. You don't want to get too far into that region because it just makes you look oilier. But having it on this area back here and sweeping it up around your eye socket totally works and does not give you that more oily appearance. But like I said, you just want to make sure you are buffing that in so you don't end up with a stripe on your face. If you find you've gone overboard with highlight, you can use the foundation brush that you originally used and stipple over the top without any extra product, and it'll help kind of tone that down a little bit. If you find that it's not blending as well as you'd like it to, you can also take your blush brush and just kind of buff that in a little bit better into the skin. And then you don't have the issue of your highlight being totally obnoxiously crazy. All right. And lastly, well, I guess not last, second to last, we're going to be doing eyes. And today I'm going to be using the NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. This is the Warm Neutrals. I haven't played with this in a while, to be honest, and I just kind of wanted to, so here we are. We're going to be playing with this eyeshadow palette today. I'm going to be keeping things fairly simple Today's look is more about basics of makeup rather than going through and doing something crazy. I want to keep my channel basically a place where you can see some fun artistic makeup, but also just learn the basics and why we do what we do. Um, just using my normal Urban Decay eyeshadow primer, which is nearing the end of its life right now. And yeah, but why do we do what we do? So as a makeup artist, I can tell you, we do all these things for a reason. Your makeup doesn't have to look like an Instagram model's. I would aim more for having your makeup look natural, and I mean, unless you want to do like crazy eyeshadow. Like I'm all about crazy eyeshadow, but you know, natural makeup for the everyday person is not my everyday makeup. It's not blues and bright purples and pinks. Natural makeup for most people, we're looking at neutrals. So I just want to show you different palettes, different techniques you can use to just achieve something simple and easy to do in the morning. So today's simple, easy look, I am going to be starting by brushing this kind of cream color up at the top, starting at the brow bone and working that into my crease. Now, this is not going to show up. I'm choosing a color close to my skin tone just to kind of set down the primer and highlight the brow bone right away. Then I'm going to be going in with this light chocolatey shade here. And I'm just going to, in a very small circular pattern, work this into the crease, starting at the outer corner and just laying that product down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. As you can see, this is a very light shade. There's not a whole lot to it. And this is more of just a transition. By laying down this transition shade in the crease, your other colors are going to blend out a little bit easier, especially if they're a little bit darker. And you won't have issues with patchiness. So next up, I'm going to go into this shade right next door. It's a bit darker. I'm going to tap off my brush so I don't get a whole lot of fallout. And I'm going to do the exact same thing in the exact same place. And for this is pretty simple. You want to stick your brush right on the outer corner and then run it along your actual crease. This is just going to darken it up and give your eyes some more depth and dimension. If you have really deep set eyes, you can still do this. Sticking with lighter shades is going to help keep you from looking like your eyes are too sunken in. And what we'll do is put a lighter shade from here on over to bring your eyes back out. So you'll have the definition of these other shades. And you'll want to make sure you don't go too dark if your eyes are very deep set. But you also want to use a light shade to really make your eyes pop back out. As you can see, my eyes are not deep set. They are actually like, they kind of protrude. So I don't really have that issue, but I still want to teach how to deal with that. So here's a place where you could stop. This could be it. You could throw on some mascara, call it a day. You've got a little bit of definition going and you're good. You know, so long as you've got this stuff blended, you're good to go. For me, I'm going to add just a little bit more definition and go one step darker. Doing the exact same thing, placing this on the outer corner, as you can see. But this one, I'm not going to blend as far. So I'm just keeping this in this outer corner, making sure it does blend into the crease, making sure it does blend onto the lid, but I am not taking this all the way across. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, sticking it on the outer V and making sure that I'm blending, but I'm not taking it all the way across. like the other colors. I'm making sure it blends. I'm not adding any extra product. When I'm blending through the crease, I'm trying to keep the majority of that color right in that outer V. So now you can see there's a lot more definition in my eyes. So I'm going to go back in with this shade right here, and I'm going to run that through the crease just to help blend and darken up this center section a little bit more, just because my eyes are so round. This really helps to just kind of bring things together. So here we have this. This is another place where you could stop. This is a good everyday go to work kind of makeup. I, however, am not going to stop here. I am going to take this really light gold shade right here with my finger, and I'm going to press this very gently onto the rest of my lid, bringing it up just below the crease. And then we just kind of blend out this edge real easily. Very carefully blend out the top edge. All you have to do is run your brush over it a couple times. If you find that you lost some of the color, you can just pat a little bit more back on. And now the color's there. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So we have this really pretty, just kind of champagne-y gold color. And once again, just going to blend this in and run this along the crease and put a little bit more to brighten it up. This is not quite the shade I was hoping for. So you know what? I'm going to go into this little bit more bronzy color here. And I'm going to kind of just set this right over where these two colors meet and like at the center, just to kind of have a little bit more gradient. And that's the nice thing about makeup. If it's not quite doing what you want, play with that a little bit more. Use a different technique. Now I have a nice gradient going from darker to lighter. And that's my dog barking. All right. So lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this really pretty like chocolatey shade right here, and I'm going to take a flat, very flat brush, and I'm going to stick this right on the outer corner. This just helps to add definition to the look. I like to add it on the top and the bottom. It really helps to open up the eyes and just make everything look more polished without having to do eyeliner. This is really great, especially if you have deeper set eyes, because we're going to darken this area, which elongates out this way. And then we're going to brighten this area, which is going to elongate out this way. And it's really going to help give that almond shape to the eye, but it is also going to help just make your eyes pop. And if you feel like the outer corner is still looking a little bit dark, excuse my phone, then you can add a light color on your waterline to really make it pop. But by not doing eyeliner all the way across, using an eyeshadow instead of an eyeliner to give definition to the eyes. Oh my God, that dog. Hold on. Cut it out. Stop. It's just the neighbors. Oh, dogs. So yes, by adding just eyeshadow, oh my God. This is why we had it. So by adding definition to the eyes, adding a lighter color in the waterline, you're really going to brighten your eyes and not make them just look like black holes when you have deeper set eyes, because I know that is a concern. When your eyes are deeper set, it seems like you put the lightest brown eyeshadow on your eyes And you end up with your eyes just looking just very like smoky when you haven't done much, you haven't put on anything dark, but because they're deeper set, it just gives that illusion. So by using lighter colors across the lid and just a little bit of darker shades on the outer corners and using lighter shades on the inner corner, as such, I'm going to grab this shade right here with my pinky, and I'm just going to very lightly brighten up that inner corner. Alrighty, now I am ready for my mascara. I'll be using the Monsieur Big Mascara by Lancome. I do like this one. I definitely love the little mini because honestly, the mini lasts as long as you should really be keeping a mascara. So I don't really see a point in buying full-size mascaras when you can actually buy the little mini one. So I'm just going to put about 2 coats of this on, making sure to get all the way up to the root of my lashes because they're blonde and it looks weird if I don't. And I'm also kind of pulling them outward as I'm going, if you notice, off to the side. This is because I wear glasses and it keeps the rubbing of my eyelashes on my glasses to a minimum since I have long eyelashes, which you can't tell because they like to point down. So now that we've gotten the eye look pretty much taken care of, as you can see, it's very bright and brightening and there's still a lot of definition. Eyes are done. I'm going to throw on some lipstick. This is the, I need to stop talking when I'm trying to put on lipstick, the NYX Liquid Suede Lipstick in the shade Soft Spoken. I haven't worn it in forever, but I decided it was time to use something I haven't used in a while. I need to stop talking while I do this. Alrighty. So here we have the pretty much completed look. If I can get this even. All right. So I hope you found this video useful and entertaining. Maybe not entertaining, but maybe useful with some good tips and tricks on doing your makeup and why we do what we do. These are things I teach on a daily basis when I work, so I thought I would share some of these tips and tricks. A lot of eyeshadow looks you can create using just one eyeshadow or two. A lot of times I like to use a lighter brown and just sweep it all the way up, blend it out, and be done. So there's lots of things you can do with eyeshadow, and you don't have to do the crazy Instagram stuff all the time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!